If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to Downfall Network for more cool content. What's up, everyone? Thralls Melly here once again. I'm Necrotic.
I'm Jammin John.
And we have an album review for you. And this one is a much anticipated one for both of us because we both love this band. And we are talking about the newest one from Incantation, possibly one of the most referenced bands whenever we do death metal reviews on here. Their new album, Sect of Vile Divinities, came out on the 21st of August on Relapse Records. This is the band's 12th album. And a little bit of backstory, these guys formed in New Jersey in 1989, but have relocated to Johnston, Pennsylvania. And they have pretty much been at the epicenter of all things cavernous, death metal, death doom. Just pretty much a mainstay in underground death metal. Very well known. I adore them.
I think the first real moment you notice how disgusting this album is comes pretty much off the bat with the song Propitation. Oh my goodness. First of all, just a big accented, punchy intro.
Death doom melodies. All the melodies on here are just disturbing and somber and creepy and all the negative emotions, but still catchy and, again, 100% Incantation.
Yes.
Unmistakably.
The sludgy, doomy, dissonant games begin in this track. Ooh. There's no way to really describe, once again, how gross this album is. The feeling on it, it's very heavy, like oppressive.
The mix on here pretty much just keeps all those elements right out in front. The guitar tone is sludgy but very crunchy. It reminds me a lot of like earlier Obituary for sure. And God, the overall atmosphere and riff construction, because John McEntee knows how to write some insane sounding riffs. Like all of a sudden out of nowhere you're greeted to like some strange ascending dissonant riff or descending crawling riff just out of nowhere. But when it comes down to delivering those thick, chunky, meaty ones, my God, does he deliver there too?
Yeah. And although the overall like production of the record is crisp, you notice it, like right for a surprisingly crisp and clean. And initially, it didn't grab me as the greatest, and then it did.
I mean, it works with the overall feel. Like it's well separated, and generally, Incantation albums sound like they're recorded in a swamp inside a cave that's inside of a large valley. Like they go for everything cavernous. Yeah, it's definitely in hell.
Yep.
And this is surprisingly a lot clearer. Now, granted, you know, once John McEntee starts growling, he sounds like some giant monster, which is totally contrary to who he is, because he's a really nice guy.
Yeah, dude, he was a super nice guy when we met him. It was actually interesting that same guy was like, "Hey, how you doing?" Just destroyed everybody on stage. So
absolutely leveled us. Entrails of the Hag Queen, the second single they released, and one disturbing video too. Lots of slime and entrails and more slime and demons.
I actually watched it for the first time at work.
Slime.
So.
Slime. Just slime. Hot chick, then slime.
Yes, hot chick, but I'm frightened.
But this song pretty much is one of those that sort of embodies both sides of them, because they love the fast, gallopy, like blast beats and almost like deicide-like kind of thrashy tremolos.
Kind of reminded me of Cannibal Corpse in the beginning too.
Yeah. Now, an interesting thing on this album is most of the time when I think of death doom, I think of longer tracks, more labored, a little bit slower. Occasionally you get like moments that are a little bit more upbeat, like where they go into like a D beat sort of rhythm, or occasionally blasts. There are a lot of short songs on here, but the short songs actually sound like not hurried, not too condensed.
Yeah,
they're really well put
They're
together.
actually full, complete thoughts. In the short songs as well, they touch on like all spectrums of their sounds. So
Guardians from the Primeval. I think this one was cool because first off, you led into this really creepy, clean melody, and honestly, this may be the cleanest moment on this album.
Yes.
Since there's a little bit of like a chunky guitar in the background, but it's kind of pushed back in the mix in favor of the clean.
Well, and the cleans are these really dissonant, like harmonious melodies.
It's not pretty, it's more creepy.
No, and it's creepy. And we were talking about this earlier, how John McEntee just says, all right, what's the creepiest sounding note? All right, that one. Okay, and the one after it, that one too.
All right, now we're going to throw that into like a series of buzzsaw riffs, and we're just gonna, make Trey Asgoth jealous.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they have a similar writing style. But this song abruptly shifts into just blast beats and wild riffs. And just out of nowhere, like, you think you're going to be rated to, like, a 2.5-minute interlude. But no, you get a full, complete song here. And it's
awesome.
Absolutely awesome. Another one that's very similar to that in terms of just being a short but very well-written song, Fury's Manifesto. This opens up with a bolt thrower gallop that, just instantly got me going. Yeah. And this is one that is just all about the aggression. Now, in terms of, like, most of this album, it's usually about, like, creating that doomy atmosphere with, like, pockets of super aggressive moments. But this one is just pretty much foot on the gas. They wanted to be fast, they wanted to be aggressive, and they absolutely nailed it.
When we jammed this song, the title of this song is actually pretty long. and I looked at Nick and I said, dude, this is going to end up being a killer song because we're going to have to read the title. So I'll read the title. Shadow Blade, Masters of Tempest, and Maelstrom.
That's a big one.
That's a big one.
But it's absurdly metal.
Dude, it is. All these titles are absurdly metal. The most, like, metal-sounding titles possible.
All of them sound like they could be, like, titles to H.P. Lovecraft short stories. Like, they really do. Like, Scribes of the Stygian, Unborn Ambrosia. All these sound fiercely metal, and I love that. That's just another, like, small little thing I really liked about this album. But that's a thing I like about all Incantation albums.
That song, though, just the intro is really creepy yet groovy, but that stomp riff that's in this song, dude,
it breaks up really well.
Very Decapitated in the beginning. Actually, you're gonna come across that a lot on this album.
When it breaks into the full-on blasts, it's just this. Well, it's the Maelstrom. It is legit the Maelstrom. Like, you were just pretty much lost at sea in a giant storm of riffs.
It's a harmonized descending crawl harmony blast section.
It's disturbing.
Weird. Yep.
And that's pretty much the overall feel on this. Like, you don't listen to this to feel comfortable or happy about anything. It's all about that grimy, dirty, evil atmosphere which they create so well.
Such as Scribes of the Stygian. That song sounds like an ambulance ride to hell in the very beginning.
It's really odd.
It's so slow, too. It's almost funeral doom.
Yeah.
Slow.
That one is definitely an interesting break because before that you had a lot of aggressive songs like Shadowblade Masters. I'm not saying the whole title. That's a long one. It's practically a whole story in the title. But it was very aggressive before that, and then it shifts over to the more doomy side, and this was like a thing with pacing here. I like how this album's paced. It breaks up the songs well because you don't get too much of one style in one part of the album.
Well, and when they brought in the slower, doomier stuff, they made the songs a little bit longer, too. Like, this song and the song after it are the two longer songs on the album.
Unborn Ambrosia is pretty much everything I love about Incantation in one song.
Yep.
It is the longest song on here. I think it's 6 minutes.
6 minutes and some change.
And it's everything they do in one song.
It's so heavy. It's so heavy. I feel like I say that a lot during reviews.
Lots of cool tapping leads, which there's some really cool lead work on here. I have to say, like, the leads generally fit the mood of the song. Like, sometimes they have more feel to them. Like, they're almost kind of bluesy, but they still feel extra somber. And they just kind of capture the overall feel of the song at the time. Now, in terms of, like, maybe takeaways from this or sort of negatives, the snare.
Dude, the snare is ultra thin. It doesn't match the punch of the rest of the kit.
Yeah, the kit sounds huge.
Yeah, the kick drum is done really well. The toms, especially in Unborn Ambrosia, dude, the toms are ginormous. Oh. Like Raining Blood.
Yeah.
In the beginning of Raining Blood. Dun, dun, dun,
dun, dun, dun, dun. And it's pretty much like summoning a beast, and that beast is John McEntie's throat.
Yep, but that snare drum is so thin, it needs... It sounds like sitting down behind an electric kit for the first time and just turning on something, being like, yeah, close enough, and then jamming. It gets lost sometimes.
Yeah. And as much as I liked the break that Scribes of the Stygian had, it did kind of run on a little bit long. And I have to say the last song, Siege Hive, isn't really the proper closer for this album. Like, honestly, it should have been Unborn.
Yeah, I believe it should have, right. I believe it should have closed with Unborn Ambrosia, and it should have opened with this track, because this track is really straightforward.
It's probably the most straightforward song on here.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of Incantation's work involves a lot of, like, knee-jerk transitions and just odd tempo shifts and even shifts in the overall mood of the song. This one is just kind of a straightforward kind of barn burner, kind of thrashy.
Kind of thrashy, yeah. And the use of the Slayer squeals.
Yeah. Some Slayer squeals, kind of maybe Vader-ish.
Yep.
But it just kind of stands out as, like, maybe this should have been in the middle of the album. It doesn't scream the big closer that it should be, but in terms of complaints, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, dude, I don't have much at all.
This is Incantation doing what Incantation does well, and that's writing killer Incantation albums, and this is another one. So overall, I'm going to give this 4 stars. I think this is another killer album in a monstrous discography that eventually we'll probably get around to ranking. But I love this album. This was really good. Couple of minor takeaways, but nothing to really derail this from being, you know, another awesome album. I went out and ordered the pre-order while we were listening to this.
While we were jamming the album, he was like, hold on.
I want to get the t-shirt. I need the t-shirt. But yeah, I love this. Pretty much start to finish. So many just ugly, destructive, just everything you love about Incantation. It's still here. They're still going strong. Go get this album.
Yes, for sure. Actually, I'm going to pick up this album probably tonight, too. So, yeah, I mean, I don't have much more to say other than what Nick's already said. I gave it 4.5 stars. I thought it was fucking killer. If my only gripe is a one product in the mix, I mean, that's it. This record is so wonderful to listen to, and really, I mean, again, a lot of albums lately have been about feeling. If it's bleak, like, I mean, these guys are going to make it feel that way. It was grimy, it was heavy, it was everything that I love about both Incantation and death metal. Yeah, like Nick said, please go buy this album, at least buy a shirt, do something, jam it, because you're going to want to get all their albums.
Get all of them.
Go, you know, when concerts come back, go see them live. Meet John McEntee.
He's a nice guy.
Nice dude.
So, if you enjoyed the review, give it a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. Catch you guys later.